Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live primetime special Closer Look Thursday. Now, normally on our show every night, we do a segment called A Closer Look that's about 15 minutes long. But since so much has happened this week, we decided to supersize it from 15 minutes to 21 minutes. It might not sound like a lot, but those extra 6 minutes, man, they're going to blow your mind. Also, this will be the first time we're doing a closer look with commercial breaks. And I, for one, can't wait to see which ads for prescription drugs NBC thinks pair best with a rundown of today's news. Xanax? Dramamine, Regeneron. Sorry, just trying to help the president pump up the stock price. And speaking of the president, that's a segue. We're incredibly good at those. There's so much to get to, from the president's ongoing election-induced meltdown to the White House attempt to cover up its expanding COVID outbreak. So, for more on all of that, it's time for a closer look. Prime time! I forgot NBC wouldn't pay for the second camera. This week, our addled president has been sitting around in a mostly deserted White House infectious zone, watching TV and angrily scream tweeting at all hours of the night. The place is turning into Grey Gardens. If Trump gets reelected, he's going to be holed up in there with long hair and fingernails while flies buzz around Mike Pence's head. Trump's apparently just been watching TV and stewing as the White House COVID outbreak spirals further out of control and his poll numbers continue to tank with less than 4 weeks until the election. And plus, he's been on a combination of powerful steroids and experimental drugs while frying his brain with hours of cable news. So exactly what you want from the guy in charge of the nuclear arsenal. They're going to have to keep that briefcase away from him the way you hide a tennis ball from a dog. For example, today, he called in for yet another one of his televised therapy sessions with Fox Business host Maria Bartiromo, where he once again rambled incoherently about, honestly, God knows what. It's impossible to follow unless you're deeply immersed in the Fox News cinematic universe of gripes and conspiracy theories. Basically, it was just two crazy people yelling over the phone like divorced parents FaceTiming each other on Thanksgiving.
I'm not going to waste my time on a virtual debate. That's not what debating's all about. You sit behind a computer and do a debate. It's ridiculous. For 6 months, he was fracking. He was raising his very thin hand, and he was fracking. I don't think I'm contagious at all. It's particles of dust. It's tiny stuff. I'm back because I'm a perfect physical specimen. They want to hug me and they want to kiss me. And they do. These people should be indicted. This was the greatest political crime in the history of our country. And that includes Obama, and it includes Biden. Mailmen are being, as you know, indicted. One was indicted yesterday in New Jersey. They found trays of ballots in the river. I killed Soleimani. I killed al-Baghdadi. Names that everybody, bigger names than Osama bin Laden. She's a communist. They have a boat thing. They have 5,000 boats. They have thousands of trucks all over the country. I'm essentially very clean.
Oh, settle down, my man. Can we cut his steroids with some of that Xanax? Or maybe, I don't know, a full Thanksgiving turkey? Listening to one of these interviews with Trump is like taking a bunch of your racist uncle's Facebook posts and putting them in a blender. He's talking about boats, indicted mailmen, rivers full of ballots, calling himself a perfect physical specimen, all of which are lies, obviously. He sounds like he's writing a YA novel after burying his face in a mound of Adderall. The rivers are full of ballots. Mailmen have been indicted. Tiny dust particles are everywhere. Everyone is contagious, except for me, your hero, the perfect physical specimen. Even Bartiromo, one of Trump's most obsequious sycophants, who spends most of the interview goading him on, tried to get him off the phone at one point, and as she was wrapping up, he screamed something incoherent about indicting Hillary Clinton.
Well, I'd like to come back to the White House soon to do another interview, Mr. President. I'd love to come back to the White House. I saw it up close and personal.
That's just how he says goodbye now. Bye, Donald. Have a good why isn't Hillary being indicted? And a good why isn't Hillary being indicted to you? Trump has concocted an elaborate fantasy in which his political opponents committed treason against him and has called for his predecessor, his previous opponent, and his current opponent to all be prosecuted in jail. This is how erratic and unstable our political system has been under Trump and the GOP. In fact, today the president released yet another one of his bizarre Twitter videos where he stands outside the White House and rambles in a way that would make you think the drugs are kicking in, except, you know, he's Donald Trump. Here he is addressing seniors.
You're not vulnerable, but they like to say the vulnerable, but you're the least vulnerable. But for this one thing, you are vulnerable.
Oh, thanks for clearing it up. So, I'm sorry, are they vulnerable or not? They say you're vulnerable, but you're not. But for this, you are. Even though in general, you're not. You're invulnerable. To me, vulnerable, which means you're not vulnerable unless you're vulnerable. It's like an ancient riddle scrawled on an Egyptian cave. If you're a senior watching that and you want to know if you're vulnerable or not, you need a decoder ring. Also, why is he so far away. You know you're contagious when they make you stand multiple football fields away from the White House. Did the White House get a restraining order against him? Judge says I need to stay at least 200 feet away. So the Trump White House is a pandemic hot zone. Staffers and journalists are either quarantined or working from home. And the ones who are there have to wear gowns, masks, and eye covers. Right now, the White House is more deserted than a CVS at midnight. Hello? Hello, does anybody work here? Sir, do you work here? I do work here, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to answer that question. You know, I'm just looking for some toilet paper. I keep in my heart every customer who's looking for toilet paper. So beware. Soleimani is responsible for the deaths of... Oh, that's not an answer to my question. So you're just gonna answer the questions you want to answer? Seriously, by the time Trump's term ends, the West Wing's going to be like one of those spooky abandoned houses at the end of your cul-de-sac your parents tell you to stay away from. Kids are going to dare each other to go inside, and occasionally we'll see Stephen Miller walk out into the backyard with a garbage bag and a shovel. In fact, and this is real, the White House is so abandoned, it's been infested with raccoons. A CNN reporter was even captured fighting one off right before a live shot.
Where? Get! There he is. Ah! Now, no events on the president's schedule today.
Good Lord. The White House has turned into a video game level from Resident Evil. I just got to kill 5 radioactive raccoons, and then I get another health pack every day. Seems the number of people connected to the White House cluster who test positive for coronavirus grows. And now, even the agency in charge of federal disaster response is getting involved.
This morning, the coronavirus outbreak on the grounds of the White House even worse than the Trump administration has admitted. ABC News obtained an internal memo sent Wednesday to top officials at FEMA, listing the total number of infected White House staffers and other contacts at 34. That's 10 more than had been previously known.
That's right, FEMA is writing memos about the White House now. I know there's a lot about the Trump era that's on the nose, but even I never imagined the White House would become a literal disaster zone. Soon we're going to see Trump sleeping on a cot in a high school gymnasium. He's going to film his next Everything is Going Great video wrapped in a tinfoil blanket, eating beans from a can with a plastic spoon. We beat it, folks. Corona's on the run, and I think we can all agree that is cool beans. And think about how crazy that is. At least 34 people have now been infected with the coronavirus. And it's not just the staffers inside the White House or Trump's inner circle. A shocking report published yesterday by USA Today found that the White House coronavirus outbreak may have exposed thousands of people across multiple states. He's Typhoid Mary if she held rallies. Of course, it seems like this can all be traced back to what appears to have been a super spreader event at the White House last month to introduce Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett. And this whole episode has been a perfect encapsulation of the criminal negligence, ineptitude, secrecy, and recklessness with which the Trump administration has handled the pandemic as a whole. For one thing, people were hugging and talking in close proximity to each other, and they even held indoor events without masks or social distancing. It's not just your own health. You're putting others at risk. Engaging in this kind of behavior during a pandemic is like slathering yourself in honey and whacking a hornet's nest with a baseball bat, which I guess would explain why Trump's face always looks like he just pulled it out of a beehive. What could I say? Daddy's got a sweet tooth. And by the way, the only reason they rushed to hold this super spreader gala in the first place was so they could pack the court with a 6-3 supermajority before an election Trump is actively trying to undermine, and to rule on a case in November in which the Trump administration is suing to destroy Obamacare and rip health care away from 20 million, including those with pre-existing conditions. And in doing so, they ended up getting themselves sick. The irony is almost Shakespearean. All this thing needed was Trump delivering a monologue to a skull. Alas, poor Yorick. His doctor was out of network. But as bad as the outbreak itself was, the attempt to cover it up was egregious. We'll tell you all about that when we come back. Oh, the raccoons are here. I thought we sprayed. Oh, they're drawn to his voice? Okay, well, that's on us then. All right, we'll be right back after I take care of this. Shoo! Welcome back, everybody. Now, the White House's reckless behavior is especially galling when we know there are basic public health measures that work and that would help stop the spread of this disease and save lives, as Dr. Anthony Fauci explained this week.
It occurs because of the lack of implementation of simple public health measures. It's so frustrating because it's not rocket science. You almost want to say, okay, country, maybe 50% of you hate me because you think I'm trying to destroy the country. But do me a favor. Listen to me for like maybe 6 weeks or so, and do these things, you would see the level of infection go down.
Okay, first of all, it's much less than 50%. Polls show as much as 3/4 of Americans regularly wear masks and support mask mandates. The people who are opposed are really only like 20%. You know, the modern day wannabe Minutemen you see in viral videos who think they're standing up for freedom by screaming at a teenage employee in the frozen aisle at Costco. Oh, what's next? You're going to tell me I can't run my hands through the ground beef? Oh, yeah, you could never do that. Well, I guess we're living in Nazi Russia now, Kyle. Second, you're right. It's not rocket science, except to Donald Trump, because to him, everything is rocket science. Explaining how viral transmission works to this guy is like explaining the mechanics of the internal combustion engine to a capuchin monkey. He's just going to get bored and start picking flies out of Pence's hair. How do you think I did last night, sir? You were great, Mike. But as we've said many times, it's not just Trump. He's not unique among Republicans. For example, the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, literally showed up maskless to a crowded indoor fundraiser in Manhattan this week, a day after coughing so much in a Fox News interview that even the anchor expressed concern. And by the way, as he was doing this interview, he was waiting for his COVID test results.
Mayor, you heard Joe Biden there. He says if the scientists say it's okay.
When I hear that response,
you know, everybody questions the polls, but we'll look forward to having you back. And I hope that cough is not anything bad where you're waiting for your test to come back. So we hope you're going to be healthy and well.
I hope so, too.
I hope so, too. I don't want to die. Again? There's only so many times they can Jon Snow you. How far did they push that swab up your nose, Rudy? Is it possible they left it in there? Mr. Giuliani, we do need to remove the swab to test the sample. Hey, find us keepers, guys. Free swab for Rudy. It's insane that someone who traveled with Trump just days before his positive COVID test feels comfortable showing up to a TV studio without a mask and coughing like a high school sophomore who just got bullied into smoking their first cigarette. Now, it would be great to know more about the timeline of the White House COVID outbreak, but the administration has repeatedly lied about what happened and refused to provide basic information about when Trump last tested negative, which is important because the president attended or traveled to a slew of events in the days before his positive diagnosis, from the first presidential debate to a rally in Minnesota to an indoor fundraiser in New Jersey, all without masks or social distancing. He's like the Johnny Appleseed of COVID. He's a one-man super spreader. And no, I'm not talking about that weird super spreading accordion thing he does with his hands, you know, where he puts his arms out like he's being patted down by the TSA. Sir, do you know why we pulled you out of the line? Is it because my coat is loaded up with office supplies I borrowed from the Oval Office? Hey, man, I heard you're the guy selling staplers. Not now, buddy. We need to know when Trump was potentially infected for the sake of all the people who could have been exposed. And yet, for some reason, the White House refuses to just tell us when Trump's last negative test was. But as always with this White House, if they're not giving us an answer, it's probably because that answer is damning. There's almost no chance Trump has been getting tested. If Trump tested negative even once, he'd be holding up the test results the way Henry Winkler holds up fish on Twitter. For real, you've got to follow the guy. It's a good time. There's a good chance Trump wasn't tested at all, which would contradict all the bragging they did just months ago about how often they tested Trump and everyone around him.
As I've made clear from this podium, the president is the most tested man in America.
I do take probably on average a test every 2 days, 3 days.
I'm sorry, why not every day? You're the president. I mean, I get tested 3 days a week, and I'm hardly an essential worker. The only reason I'm even on prime time right now is because they had to shut down production on Superstore for a few months. Come back, Superstore. I like my normal time slot where I can say the F word and they can bleep it in post. So now it turns out Trump was not the most tested man in America. Also, it wouldn't surprise me if Trump just refused to be tested, since he's openly complained about how much he dislikes the nasal swab test.
What was it like taking the test?
Not something I want to do every day, I can tell you that. It's a test. It's a medical test. Nothing pleasant about it.
It's not pleasant for you with those nostrils? I mean, come on. Those things are like mainsails. They probably had to tape 2 swabs together to get all the way up there. I'm not hitting anything, but I'm afraid to keep going. So it's not surprising Trump would try to cover up a COVID outbreak, but even for him, the last few days have been especially unhinged. And we'll tell you all about the president's latest outburst when we come right back. Welcome back. Now, we don't really know anything about the president's health other than what he tells us in those weird one-take Twitter videos he keeps posting from the White House grounds. You know, the ones with weird jump cuts and trucks backing up in the background.
Firefighters, everybody, they're just great. We have great people. This is a great country. I want to get out of the hospital, and that's what I want for everybody.
Where is he, a construction site? He couldn't tape his message to the country after Garbage collection? Who knows, though? Maybe the beeps are coming from him. It makes sense because every time he talks, he's basically backing up a truck full of BS. Also, what is up with the terrible production quality? He's the president. I feel like he's trying to sell me a reverse mortgage or an above-ground pool. It's not good when the White House films the president in the same style as the Cloverfield monster. Now, we know the coronavirus has taken a visible toll on Trump's physical health, but there's also been some speculation about his mental health, given that the steroids he's taking can reportedly have psychological side effects. And I'm no mental health expert, but I can tell the difference between bad and worse, although I don't really know how you'd know. Saying the drugs made Trump crazier is like saying the Nikes made Usain Bolt faster. Dude can't get much faster than he already did. But don't worry, Trump put any questions about his state of mind to rest with this video.
Hi, perhaps you recognize me. It's your favorite president. And I'm standing in front of the Oval Office at the White House, which is always an exciting place to be.
When he says, "Hi, it's me, your favorite president," it almost sounds like he's being ironic. Like even he knows how much people don't like him. Like he's expecting the Debbie Downer music.
Hi, perhaps you recognize me. It's your favorite president.
Thank you, Dratch. Now, ever since his positive test, Trump has been telling people not to be afraid of COVID and that we shouldn't let it dominate our lives, which of course is easy for him to say since he lives in a mansion with an in-house clinic and was literally flown by helicopter to a premier medical institution where he received the best taxpayer-funded health care in the world. Trump hates universal single-payer health care until he needs it. Then he turns into a socialist. He's going to show up to his next press conference in a headband and Karl Marx t-shirt shouting, "We must pass Medicare for all who are named Donald Trump." In fact, the New York Times did the math and estimated that Trump's care would have cost the average American $100,000. And something tells me you still wouldn't hit your out-of-pocket limit. What's my deductible? $1 billion. That can't be right. Let me get my insurance card. Oh, I apologize. It is $1 billion. And of course, it's an especially sweet deal for Trump, given that in 2016 and 17, he paid only $750 in federal income taxes per year. If Trump loses in November, it would be great if Biden sent him a bill for $99,250 just to watch him sweat. "I'll get you the money, Joe, I swear. I just need one more hit of dexamethasone. Daddy's got to get his dex on. Got to get on that highway to dexamethasone." So Trump got the best medical care in the world at taxpayer expense, medical care no other American has access to, including an experimental drug made by a company called Regeneron. And yes, before you even ask, the CEO is a member of Trump's golf course, and yes, Trump has owned stock in the past, and yes, they got a giant $450 million grant from the Trump administration in July, because of course, why else would Trump go out of his way to repeatedly brag about it in his video?
They gave me Regeneron. It's called Regeneron. And other things too, but I think this was the key. But they gave me Regeneron. And it was like unbelievable. I felt good immediately. I felt as good 3 days ago as I do now.
Okay, first of all, Regeneron sounds like a drug an evil corporation in a movie would use to make an army of soldiers or genetically engineered dinosaurs. All it's missing is the word industries at the end. Here at Regeneron Industries, we're using the latest technology to create an army of servant clones that definitely will not rise up against... What's that banging on the door? Oh, the servant clones? Oh, they're rising up? We'll turn them off. They won't turn off? Well, I don't know. No, static. They wouldn't pay for the second camera. They wouldn't give us this. And look, the drug might genuinely work and be a major breakthrough, which would be great, but the president shouldn't be talking it up like he's filming a testimonial for a prescription drug commercial. All that's missing are shots of him walking on the beach and playing guitar with a bunch of other 70-somethings. Yeah, good jam session, fellas. You know, when you get to my age, physical intimacy can be a struggle. That's why I take Regeneron. Oh, where are they? Where you guys... Melania, where's the Regeneron? Mel? Mel, I can't find my intimacy pills. Where you threw them? You flushed them down the toilet by accident. That keeps happening. Well, Mel, I can't be intimate with... I'm not mad, Mel. I'm not. I love you, Mel. So Trump is once again bragging about miracle cures he had the luxury of receiving during his $100,000 taxpayer-funded hospital stay. Meanwhile, his administration is in court right now suing to rip health care away from millions, an outcome they could achieve if they get their 6-3 Supreme Court supermajority. Trump has left the country in ruins, and now it's up to us to put it back together. More on that when we come back. Oh! Raccoons are here. Welcome back. So before we go, let's just quickly take stock of where we're at right now. The White House is emptier than an abandoned Hollywood video after a COVID outbreak infected the president and his aides and exposed potentially thousands of others. Cases are once again on the rise, while just 3 states report declines. The president tweeted that he was unilaterally ending stimulus talks, then reversed himself. Some of the country's senior military leadership, including members of the Joint Chiefs, are in quarantines. Raccoons have taken over the White House, and staffers have to wear masks, gowns, and face shields to enter the Oval Office like they're performing an alien autopsy at Area 51. Or as the president put it,
We have enthusiasm like probably nobody's ever had. Our people that love the job we're doing, we have more enthusiasm than maybe anybody.
so much enthusiasm, I guess you could say it's contagious. We're spreading it across the country. Everyone's got it, and they're giving it to their neighbors. What all this shows is that defeating Trump is the first and most urgent step to fixing our economy and restoring our democracy, but it can't be the only step. We need systemic changes to our political system and a sustained moment to push for them. That starts with all of us doing everything we can, pitching in, and most importantly, voting. We have the power to repudiate Trump in November. We can end the cruelty and criminal negligence, the cronyism, the incompetence, and we're on the verge of doing it. We just have to see it through. It's a nerve-wracking place to be, but it's also an
exciting place to be.
This has been A Closer Look Thursday. Watch our show every night at 12:35 right here on NBC. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, vote. We love you. Good night. No, don't you? I swear, of all the times. We bought the puppet today, guys. God's Love We Deliver cooks and brings over 2 million meals a year to men, women, and children living with HIV/AIDS, cancer, and other serious illnesses, and they need your help now more than ever. If you're watching this online, you can hit the donate button. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. We love you.